Freljord, in the north of Runeterra, is an endless land covered with ice and snow, where the wind constantly howls. When you first step here, it feels as if time slows down and the world's breath merges with the frozen silence. Glaciers, mountains, and endless valleys hold a silence unchanged for centuries. But beneath this silence, echoes of wars, betrayals, and secret agreements lasting thousands of years resonate. Freljord is not just a piece of land, it is an arena where fate, power, and legends converge. In the history of these lands, three great female figures have held the destiny of Freljord in their hands: Ashe, Lissandra, and Sejuani. Each fought to shape the future of her people, and each became both a hero and a tragic figure in her own path. These three women not only ruled Freljord but also represented the spirit of the North. Without understanding their stories, it is impossible to discern what is real and what is legend in the icy winds of Freljord. Ashe is the queen of the Avarosan tribe and the beacon of hope for Freljord. She demonstrates that leadership is not only about power but also about wisdom and justice. Every arrow that flies from Ashe's bow targets not only her enemies but also the future of her people. Her leadership relies not just on battlefield strategy, but also on the ability to touch the hearts of her people. As a queen, Ashe is a figure who has learned from the mistakes of the past and looks to the future with hope. But her story is not easy. Every step is shaped not only by enemy tribes but also by conflicts within her own people. Being a strong leader sometimes requires breaking even the closest friends and advisors. Ashe's burden is heavy, but she is courageous enough to bear it. Lissandra, however, walks an entirely different path. She represents the dark side of Freljord. Thousands of years ago, Lissandra made a pact with the dark energies of the void, becoming immortal and nearly invincible. Her goal is not only to maintain her power but also to seize Freljord's destiny in her own hands. Lissandra's power is terrifying. She can destroy her enemies not only physically but also spiritually. Yet, her power also brings solitude. Lissandra has battled her internal conflicts for centuries, unable to forget the sins and mistakes of the past. Her story is a legend where power and tragedy intertwine. Sejuani is the third queen and represents the wild side of the north. She is the leader of the Winter's Claw tribe, and her strength is measured by physical might, warrior skill, and determination. Sejuani has had to make harsh decisions for the survival of her people and has been a ruthless leader when necessary. Yet her leadership does not rely solely on fear. Sejuani knows how to earn the love and loyalty of her people. On the battlefield, she strikes fear into her enemies while protecting the safety of her people. Sejuani's story narrates the balance between the struggle for survival and the responsibility of leadership. The story of Freljord is shaped by the conflict among these three women. The relationship between Ashe, Lissandra, and Sejuani is not only political but also deeply personal. Their paths sometimes intersect, sometimes they become enemies, and sometimes they form necessary alliances. The destiny of Freljord largely depends on the decisions of these three women. And these decisions are shaped not only by wars but also by diplomacy, strategy, and personal sacrifices. Ashe's leadership is a beacon of hope for her people. She advocates for peace and unity, striving to establish balance among tribes. Her vision is to create a future where people can live together even in the harsh conditions of the north. Ashe stands beside her people both as a warrior and a diplomat, feeling their pains and sharing their joys. Her strength lies not only in the arrows she shoots but also in her ability to touch the lives of her people. Lissandra's power, on the other hand, is entirely different. She uses darkness to maintain her authority and rewrites the history of Freljord with her own hands. Lissandra is a strategist beyond her time, defeating her enemies through years of planning. Her intelligence and cunning can threaten even the best-laid plans of Ashe and Sejuani. Yet her story is not only about victories. She constantly battles her past, inner fears, and the darkness of the void. Lissandra's tragedy is a tale where power and loneliness intertwine. Sejuani represents the harshness of nature and the ruthlessness of war. She makes every sacrifice to protect her tribe and is merciless toward her enemies when needed. Her leadership is firm yet fair. Her people both fear and love her. She understands that war is not merely a physical struggle. Leadership, strategy, and decisions made for the safety of her people, though sometimes heartbreaking, are necessary. Sejuani's story illustrates the challenges of survival, leadership, and protecting her tribe. These three women of Freljord also represent the spirit of the North. Ashe symbolizes hope and unity. Lissandra embodies darkness and betrayal. Sejuani represents warfare and the struggle for survival. Their conflicts affect not only their own tribes but all of Freljord. Every decision, every battle, and every alliance reshapes the destiny of the North. Amid these conflicts, other tribes and people of Freljord live their own stories. A hunter lost among glaciers is affected by the wars of the Three Queens. A child grows up listening to the tales of heroes and carves her own path. An elder remembers the scars of past wars and teaches lessons to future generations. Freljord carries not only the stories of queens but also of its people. The legends of Freljord have been passed down through thousands of years. Every tribe narrates its heroes and tragedies. Every mountain and glacier holds its secrets. The stories of Ashe, Lissandra, and Sejuani sit at the heart of these legends. Their choices determine not only their own lives but also the fate of all Freljord. Thus, a traveler who wishes to understand the story of Freljord must first understand the inner conflicts, leadership struggles, and personal tragedies of these three women. Without them, one cannot fully grasp the spirit and destiny of Freljord. Each is a legend in her own right. Each is as strong and impressive as the harsh winds of the north. These three queens of Freljord are also connected to other regions of Runeterra. Ashe's efforts to maintain unity interact with the politics of Demacia and Noxus. Lissandra's dark schemes align with the threat of the Void. Sejuani's struggle for survival indirectly intersects with the technological advances of Piltover and Zon. Therefore, the story of Freljord is not limited to the north. It influences the fate of all Runeterra. Amid all this, the wind of the north howls constantly. Glaciers silently grow, and the people of Freljord continue to live their stories under the shadow of the Three Queens. This land always carries both danger and hope. It harbors both darkness and light. The stories of Ashe, Lissandra, and Sejuani serve as a guide for anyone who wishes to understand the spirit and destiny of this land. The story of Freljord begins like a fairy tale, but is never simple. This land presents complexity, tragedy, and heroism together. And every traveler who listens to this story cannot pass without feeling the winds of the north, the chill of the ice, and the shadow of the Three Queens.